Oh dear word, I don't know where to begin, future self. So much we need to talk about. So, I started taking this seriously about a year ago. I've developed 100 followers somehow, which is it's remarkable. And I appreciate your time, absolutely. But I'm not going to cut out my ums or speak like I'm on meth, like some YouTubers do. Think fast and talk slow. So my origin story, this heartstring virtuoso, is not me. I'm not a virtuoso of any kind, even though I collect instruments. Neither am I virtuous at all. Heartstring virtuoso, I call my camera virtuoso because it captures flawlessly what it's seeing. And the heartstring virtuoso is just a weird trope that came up from therapy, believe it or not. But it was a mythical student, you know, someone I have to look forward to in the future. And that's, I think, the hardest part. If you had to rank of order importance, you know, your, what is it, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'll double check it later, or not. But one of them I think would be looking forward to something. So I don't have a very good origin story, you know, neither villain nor hero. I don't have a fancy origin story. It's very cringy, you know. I'm an 80s child, so I grew up before the internet. Graduated in 2000. You know, don't stalk me too much. I love living in Southeast Michigan. Never go anywhere else. Maybe, even if I try to escape, I can't seem to escape. I don't think there's any way out. I'm pretty sure it's the Twilight Zone here. I love Detroit. I've worked there, went to school there for a little bit, played jazz there. It was like, that was the pinnacle of my music, is playing jazz at Wayne State. I'm gonna go into a bunch of random rants now. Yeah, there was, I remember as a kid feeling like there was this invisible boundary between these suburbs. Like, I think the United States kind of hears about it a little bit just because of Eminem in 8 Mile. So they have this like metaphorical boundary in their mind between like the white suburbs and downtown or whatever. But Detroit's actually a really sprawling and vibrant community, and there's like beautiful pockets of suburb. Takes up a lot of space. And I remember feeling like as a kid Like, you could see that, like, you cross the invisible line, cross certain streets, enter certain cities, and be like, oh, clearly they do not have the funding that right across the street has. And so that's always how I felt about, like, cities that get bad rap. You know, it's the same place everywhere around the world, wherever there's super dense populations. I mean, there's a lot to worry about in the world these days. And I stress mostly over people just getting to work and back in the morning. Just getting to work and getting home safe on our expressways. That's my main anxiety, which, thank you, marijuana. Some people say it increases anxiety. I've never had that experience. I used to believe that there was no such thing as greening out until I saw a person green out. He totally hit 11 on the Richter scale. He didn't smoke very much at all. Took like a couple hits off the pipe, and then I can't remember what exactly we were listening to. It was pretty intense, but we were playing video games, and there's some music going on. We were talking and laughing. We had a lot of people in the house, and he just like grabs hold of the chair, and he was just like white knuckling it, and he was not okay. So some people just should not smoke weed, I think. But yeah, he was greening out for sure. He was like, it's too much, it's too much. The video games are going so fast, and there's music, and yeah, it can cause psychosis, like any strong drug. I consider it a borderline psychedelic, to be honest. But it's legal here. Come to Michigan. We have some great dispensaries. So I don't just worry about traffic, though, obviously. So my origin story. This unapologetic troll used to be at the origins of the internet. I didn't know anything. Very crude asshole is how I would describe myself. Just wanted to hurt people's feelings. Just wanted to be like, twist the thumb screws. Take a quick look. Like, I'm ready to be like, anytime anyone was an asshole, in my opinion, I was ready to be a one-man brigade, be a fucking keyboard warrior. But I'm too old for that shit now. Now I just watch in disgust and awe and confusion and fear. And all I have left is like my gallows humor to entertain myself. So the doom scroll is like, I don't know, I think what it is the dead internet is going to slowly come for people. And maybe it'll get me first because I just came before the internet. So I know people older than me who are just not internet bound like I am. But I love to be pseudo connected, you know. I broke a lot of chains. Sorry, chains aren't the right word. Bridges. I burned a lot of bridges. Being an asshole. Trying to stand my ground on, I don't know, holier than thou territory. But really the only thing I can filibuster on is music theory. It's not even like the useful portions of music. It's the esoteric bullshit that comes like after you've already practiced. Forgot where we were at. Trump, Epstein, Kirk, social media, mental health. So mental health is something I'm comfortable talking about. I wish I wasn't. I lost a close friend to suicide, and kind of like led me down a creative rabbit hole. You know, for a while I would try and help people on like support groups, just like chat with strangers. But it was just like it weighed too heavily on me. I ended up writing a fucking book about it. But I'm not here to sell you a book or a course. You know, I'm not making any money off of this channel yet. Maybe 900 more followers from now. I really don't want that many followers, to be honest. I only want as many people as I can interact with. So I feel like I can barely deal with the people in my family and my neighbors as it is. So mental health, yeah, I'm not afraid to talk about being fucking, how would I even describe it? I don't know. You see the spirals behind me? The broken pieces of my mind are still in my ex-wife's basement in boxes gathering dust. I'm a white trash Nepo baby. I am the privileged poor. Lucky for me, my dad had the union and retired. Now we're taking care of each other. It's an interesting life. I need to do a lot better and a lot more. But this isn't that much of a pep talk about future self as it is about venting all these little slices of the pie here. It's just little snippets I want to sneak in here. Because Epstein supposedly killed himself. I wasn't there. I mean, it's highly suspect, obviously. They couldn't have made it even more suspect than having missing footage. Holy shit. But, I don't know. I don't want to know. I'm done. I'm done having it plastered over my feed. I think what you should do as well is Don't be fed. Search. Don't read the hype. Type. You gotta type in what you want to see, and that's it. The internet is vast. You can find it. Just don't get lost in the vitriol, because I don't know. I've been on chat rooms since the beginning, and I feel like the botness of it all is definitely increasing. Like, I see many, 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 many comments that are 3 sentences or less. And that's all I have to say about that. But I don't know. Maybe you need someone who's as nihilistic as I am. Or nihilistic isn't really sufficient to really put over how negative I am. I really can't stand listening to my inner voice about things. But it's caused me to be an author. We're working on book 2. Not that I want to. It's just like the result of being burnt out from the machine shop. You know, having a seizure that led to memory loss. So I can't really operate machines anymore. Operated an overhead crane for a while. I was pretty good on the forklift. Did manual lathes. Did CNC lathes. Just when I was starting to get good at it. But burnout. So the main central theme I want to get across to you is that music is like the tether that keeps me in reality. It's knowing that other people hear the same sound when I play it, that I'm not delusional. Yes, so this heartstring virtuoso character comes from my book. No, I'm not really pushing it, but I'm sure if you're avid, you can find it. It's pretty unspectacular. I would avoid it, to be honest. That's my give it 0.5 stars out of 10, maybe. But this heartstring virtuoso character is like a mythical student who indeed does mend hearts through music, and not just creates and uses art to help people and to build bridges between ideologies, but also teaches other musicians to do the same. So that's my butterfly effect that I'm working on. That's all I'm worried about. And a bunch of esoteric music theory bullshit that doesn't really matter. It's very fun to know, though. It's very fun to argue about. Welcome to the middle, which is now the beginning. You got it. You'll catch up, don't worry. So, I wanted to give my first impressions on Kirk here. Because I'm just really hurt by all the memes and all the dark shit I'm seeing. And it's not one-sided. it's fucking dark, and the internet is like, I don't want the internet to be dead yet. I enjoy cat memes, you know. I like a good talking head video walking through the forest, discussing life, things of that nature. It's an infinite source of music and information and languages and books. So, you know, I don't want the internet to die because of memes. It's really sad that we can't have human interaction anymore. But to begin with, I just want to say that he should have, I mean, like, all these, oh, so much dancing in my head because I think faster than I speak. There's so many talking heads on the internet that I'm surprised no one's, like, he's touted as this great orator, and he's said some pretty cool stuff, and they should have leaded. See, I'm not, you know, and I'm much older than him. You know, he's a well-spoken guy, and they should have led with the shit he said. Like, President Obama's Department of Education pledged to solve the student debt crisis, but it was utterly inept in its effort to address the issue. Simple things like this. Simple truth is that America is locking up too many people for too long, spending too much money on them. Prisons are called correctional facilities because the goal is to correct the behavior that sent people there. They're just not working. I added that. Human adaptability simply doesn't get accurately captured in econometric models. The left has viewed the coronavirus pandemic as a political opportunity from the start. As government imposes the will of a few upon the many begin to resist. Ultimately, it becomes necessary for the government to use force to make the people conform. Which what? If you take away what a person owns, you control what the person can do. And that's very frightening. Especially if you've ever experienced, like, food insecurity. Which comes to the next one. A healthy economy is the foundation for a healthy future. That's it. Alright, back to the middle. Where are we at? Let's give it some time. We'll speed it up. Alright, so I left a list of links to my favorite videos. Started taking this channel seriously about a year ago. I've collected 100 followers. I did not expect to collect any followers. Perhaps I'll do video blogs in the future, but this would be the first one that I've done publicly. I actually started the channel to record myself talk to my future self and also practice blogs. But I didn't want to share that with anybody, which YouTube allows, which is perfect to give you unlimited upload space. Anyway, thank you for your time. I appreciate you listening, and your comments especially have been very kind. So check out my short list of my personal favorites that I've had over this 1 year, and my brain is totally mush. Everybody, welcome to the channel. So I started taking this channel seriously about a year ago. I just breached the 100 subscriber mark, so I wanted to thank everyone with my face. I usually don't do any sort of preamble before the music or talk too much. And strangely, I actually started this channel as a video blog that I kept completely private for myself, which maybe I'll release some of someday. But besides that, I wanted to talk about this heartstring virtuoso character, which is just a character. I'm neither a virtuoso of heartstrings nor a virtuoso of instruments. You know, I collect instruments, but I don't. I say that I don't own any of them. But I was obsessed with virtuosos for a short while. When I was a young trumpeter, I was very, very enthusiastic, very, very gung-ho, very, very fearless. Like, I was like gonna conquer all of the great etudes. I was very serious. I was not fucking around. And I was very devastated when I sucked. But now I'm so terrible at music that I'm fearless now. So I've left some links over the year, which I've been taking this fairly seriously. I've created quite a few videos, so I've left some links of my favorite videos in the comments. Thank you for your time. I very much appreciate you, and your comments have been absolutely lovely. Thank you. Like, it's hard to lie when you're playing music. It's hard to play the blues when you're in the air conditioning. That's what I'm saying, is like, I'm blessed. I'm beyond blessed. I live without want. You know, but I see my neighbors, and they're not okay. And I've lived a pretty cloistered life. I haven't been far. Been to some beautiful places, though. Most of them are up in my head. That's why I plaster the walls with the art that I want to see, which I just want to reiterate that you want to, don't swipe, you want to type in what you want to see, type in what you want to learn. So I thought I would get a little bit further with the machining career than I did, but did learn a lot. I learned a lot about machining, and I learned a lot about instrument building on the same path as machining. Anytime you're metallurgy, there's overlapping information. So I do a lot of poetry. I collect poetry. I collect poetry snippets, aphorisms, topics of contentment, quotes from philosophers, especially musicians. So I feel like my biggest contribution to mankind is my compilations of other people's work. Like, I've spent a long time looking through a lot of things to find the fucking good nooch. I feel like, it's not that I'm looking for meaning in life. I just smoke a little and go for a bike ride. And when I come home, there's new music in my brain. Then I can dream finally about the forest. So that's the only thing I'm worried about, is just losing all of the nature. But who knows? Maybe some genius biologist will come up in a minute, come up with some algae solution. Algae creates more air than trees. So there we have about that. So I'm blessed. I've been blessed with opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. And I squandered most of them. But I'm not smart enough to have any regrets. I just don't. I have odd jobs, kitchen work, the lathe, the machinist lathe has been a big part of my life. So I'm kind of obsessed with therapy and how psychiatric tools can be used to help people. Collect let's see, where is it? What do you know? We lost that one completely. The weed must have kicked in. This must be the good stuff. Let's flip the page. So we got gentrification. We got, I must stay in my lane and talk about music theory, but the problem with that is you can't separate music from politics. We're finally getting started. 24 minutes in. You cannot separate politics and music. It's kind of like separating the jester from the king and his actions. You just can't. The jester's gotta jest. And I he's not making fun of the king or someone in the king's circle, he's got to make fun of the neighboring king, right? That's what Jesse Wells says. Anyway, I heard this crazy quote. We have left the privileged white male stuck in the 50s. Let me look at this again. Stuck in the 50s with the rest of us, recovering from emotional and generational trauma, systemic abuse, while they have failed, toiled, all while being expected to remain stoic, to never be perturbed, to never cry, God forbid. While yearning for community, we are drowning on the borders of chaos and disorder. Manufactured probable cause. You see, it's too monumental of a task to give people a world worth working for, so we give them a punishment worth avoiding. This is why people say, give me death. Insert some diatribe that coincides. The laws of the mind are yet to be defined. I've poked the black box one too many times. You see me here, but I'm on the other side. Just collection of complexities. I recently watched a man dance with his dog to an Elvis cover song happening outside of a bar. Very whimsical. Lead singer was an older guy, gray hair. Next song was Little Sister, Don't You? Very nice. Great vocalist. For some reason, it reminded me of Mr. Peabody and Sherman from Rocky and Bullwinkle. Curating the calm with an analgesic green balm, pretentious contentment, my original psalm. Why am I so alone? Perhaps because I always just bitch and moan. Endless shit scroll on my phone. Once an epic troll, and now I'm grown. So normally I don't explain anything, but when I was younger I tried to write complicated music, brass quartets, etudes, counterpoints, fugues, and I just felt like I reached a point where it didn't matter, like it had no outside effect. I was, pissing in the wind, no matter what music I made. And hilariously now, I'm just like doing screaming noise music. And normally I don't do any sort of like preamble before the music and say anything. This is the first video blog. Thanks for tuning in. If you've lasted this far, that's your fault. But some people, they will include some sort of like artistic explanation as to their avant-garde noise music. It's like, or their art piece, which would be something like, and I got a couple examples. The blank canvas. It's a radical interrogation of presence itself. In its refusal to depict, it depicts everything. Cool quote, but I don't know what it means. Like some things are just like so vague and ambiguous. Like, I love this, it sounds great. Sing a song about it, but 10 different people are going to find it 10 different ways. But that's the best thing about real art, is you should examine it and find it 10 different ways. Talk about it. That's the interesting thing about art. This pile of bricks. It problematizes our assumptions about labor, unity, and the commodification of matter. That was actually kind of interesting. This overturned chair. It gestures towards the instability of social seating arrangements, enacting a silent insurrection. Oh, sorry, I didn't turn my chair over. This deliberate lack of skill is a critique of virtuosity itself, foregrounding the politics of access and exclusion within the canon. Here's what I talk about having true fearlessness is being able to sit on a street corner and play music for strangers who maybe don't want to hear you at all. You know, a lot of them are wearing headphones. A lot of them are hard of hearing. A lot of them are really angry that you're there. Which is why I usually go to the park. Just slightly more chill environment than the street corner on the busy city street corner. But you'll make more money on a busy street corner. I have not been busking long, but I don't consider it busking. I just show up and play music for people because I don't want any money. In fact, I don't want anything to do with that. I don't think my city's ordinance allows it. Jokingly. I'm pretty sure they don't, actually, so you need some sort of license to be a street performer. I talked to a juggler once. So, there's many things. There's many things I'm bad at dealing with. I won't lie. I think we all have specialties for a reason. I learned different genres of music from different people in my life at a very early age. And I think that's the most important part about my music education, is that I had so many varied influences that I found interesting, not just something I passively heard, but something I repeatedly heard. You know, my sisters were listening to pop music, my brother was listening to everything. Late 80s, 90s, aughts is when I probably purchased my largest amount of music when I was working at restaurants. I was obsessed with jazz first. Once I got into high school, it was pretty much all over. Music was the only reason I went to school, pretty much, to play music with my friends. Now I'm just rotting, just totally rad. But I don't know. We'll see what happens to my brain. It's doing well so far, minus a few ticks in here and there. There's been a few blips on the radar. I feel like there's 1,000 more things I was going to mention. Yeah, there were. I'm going to save them for another time. Let's hit mute. Alright, we're medicated. Yeah, so if you don't know about seizures, they also cause tremendous memory problems. I have a special system for knowing if I've taken medication in the morning yet, or in the evening medication if it's been taken yet. Basically just an in-box and an out-box. But Yeah, the last year has been very complicated. Losing my mother, living alone with my father. He's taking care of me more than I'm taking care of him. But he's 75 years old this year. Uh, it's pretty spectacular so far. The hardest thing we have to do is go grocery shopping together. So we have the social media and these online avatars. See, I don't have this great origin story. I'm not a virtuoso. Let's get that straight before I get distracted for a fifth time. We'll come back to it. Oh dear. Should not do talking head videos at all. Thank you for your patience, if you still have it. Yeah, so this last year, when my mother passed, so I moved in with Dad, and I've just been wasting away. It's been glorious. It's been the happiest year in my life since I was a child, an ignorant child. I decided that I was gonna take this channel seriously about a year ago, and I've produced a fair amount of content. Some of it serious, some of it not so serious. I won't go into that too much because I don't like to explain what I call explaining. Like, you either got it or you don't, you know? It's an art. You don't have to do it. It doesn't have to make sense to you. I mean, I guess it's better art, you can call it if you want, if everyone understands it immediately. Maybe you communicated your thought better. Losing my train of thought. I'm gonna make you wait for it. So the audience is always wrong. So I want you to learn music, but I want you to know that no one cares about music anymore. Like your parents might cheer you on. Yeah, you went potty. You learn a new scale or you practice a new lick, and it's a bottomless hole. Once you master one instrument, after 7 lifetimes of practice, you can pick up a second instrument and practice for another 7 lifetimes. So, if you're brand new, just start with rhythm. That's all there is to it. You already know what sounds you like in your ear. If you want to play music, I assume it's because you have a sound in your head that you like, that you want to recreate, or you just want to have fun and slam on a keyboard with your feet, or do something else, you know. Watch cats playing theremin. One of my favorite pastimes is watching kittens play theremin. So that's one apolitical version of music, is watching cats play theremin. But yeah, if you want to get your voice out, if you got a story to tell, music is a great way to tell your story. And you're the only one who can tell your own story. the way you can, anyway. Like I said, someone else can try and talk to you, interview you, get your story out there. But in the end, writing is one thing, and playing is another. I find people who do a lot of writing got a little bit of music done. And that's the way it has to be, is like, for every page you got a couple lines that are music worthy, so you have to just stay the course. You're not a quitter until you quit. And I've just taken up more instruments. I've slowed down on some instruments and sped up on others. Some require more endurance than others. The trumpet is very challenging. Maybe I should come back to the original plot point now. So, I wrote a book about losing my friend to suicide. It's one of those things that ties into the internet culture today. We're hearing about Epstein every single day, so it's kind of like, it hits differently to me. Some people, we all have our own trauma. But I wrote a book about my friend here. It was about me losing my mind over a quarter of my life in the machine shop, working the night shift alone, basically alone with my own thoughts, writing this book in the machine shop. And it was the most healing thing that ever happened to me, was getting fired. Never quit. Make them fire you. Make them fire you. So I'm not like trying to sell my book. I'm not monetized in this channel. 900 more subscribers to go. I wouldn't even look forward to that, because I don't want more people than I can interact with. And I already have a hard time interacting with normal people as it is. So the audience attention is like a currency, addiction, and a weapon. At the same time, you see that subscriber count, and you're like, oh, this is a new channel, or this is an up-and-coming channel, or this is just a nobody, or this is garbage content, or maybe they just only have one thing that's interesting, or like one clip that happened to get a lot of views, so they're getting a few subscribers. And then I see really interesting things, like really bad content with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and they've only got like 3 videos, and I wonder, like, what's actually happening here? Are they getting bot subscribers? Is there a bot watch list happening on YouTube now? I mean, I guess if bot playlists are happening on Spotify, I don't know. I can't get down with that sort of mechanic. I feel like it's playing a shifty version of Magic the Gathering with your online content. You're like, here, and I just tap this to tap this to tap this to untap this to return this to my hand to deal infinite damage and gain infinite life. So it's just like, why even bother with real money when we have imaginary money that's worth infinite value? Makes perfect nonsense. Just get with the math of it all. Just start mining your Bitcoin. So, yeah, I just don't understand. That's all there is to it. I do like puzzles, but I'm not good at those sorts of puzzles. Come from a generation in the 80s that were brought up on video games. It slowly became more and more violent. Now this year, I think we're supposed to see both Grand Theft Auto 6 and this game called Precinct, which is like the cop version of Grand Theft Auto, where it looks like you get to be a dirty cop. It just seems like, I don't know, we got maybe too much freedom of speech. We just got to like pretend to carjack people, pretend to buy hookers. Let's see what's happening here. Got a nice message from my sister. Perfect timing. She is an absolute delight. We'll get back to that later. Yeah, I have some very brilliant siblings that I look up to. I feel like they're all a little bit more successful than me, but they're all a little bit more sane than me too. I have some mild mental deficits since the seizure, but the problem I have is that mental health is both a personal struggle and a political battlefield. Like I'm as blessed as I could ever possibly be. I live without want. I mean, there's not much I can actually go and do because I don't have any money, but I don't need to do anything. You know, I can charge my batteries here, that's enough. I can practice here, and that's enough. And I can take care of my dad and for my family, and that's enough. That's all I'm worried about for now. In the future, my future self will take care of that bullshit. I don't care about that guy. Fuck him. Dear future self, fuck you. I don't care if you're not laughing. Future self, I'm laughing at you. So this audience attention, like there's a feedback loop. You get that clapping at the end of your performance, and feels good the first time. Every once in a while it doesn't feel good. There's this thing we do in our region called solo and ensemble, where we take these grade school, middle school, high school kids, we have them go play for like a professor of their instrument who's got like a master's degree in their instrument, and they played like a solo in front of this guy, and he's like, you suck, you suck, you suck, you suck. And I did it every year, and I was like, yes, I'm gonna go this time. He's gonna say I only sucked a little bit. But I never achieved virtuoso status. I never perfected the trumpet, never perfected anything. I have many things that I've created I consider perfect, but none of them are musical. None of them are very musical, but I'm not worried about musical perfection anymore. You know, when I was young, I was worried about creating something unique and beautiful and my own, and standing out. Maybe like, I guess I think in a sense I thought I could perform for a living if I just practiced every single day for 3 hours, but 1 hour wasn't enough. 1 hour a day wasn't enough. 3 hours a day would have maybe done it. But I dropped out of college too. You know, my claim to fame is dropping out of Wayne State, playing jazz at Wayne State in big band, playing jazz at Henry Ford in Dearborn. It was a very interesting acculturation experience. It was very well accepted. I had time to practice in between classes with other students, like in practice rooms. Like they had pianos ready for you. Like piano player would go to piano room and you jam with them. If you were lucky, you could find a bass player. That happened like several times too, where you'd have impromptu jam sessions where you're just like knocking a door. You guys busy? Mostly want to listen. So yeah, I'd like to talk about what I call men's mental health. Men's mental health, I might put in the title, because men aren't allowed to talk about it. We just get angry. We're allowed to experience anger, you know, crying's for the weak. But what it really is it's a signal to the rest of the family that the leader doesn't know what to do. That's what's really scary about crying. That's why it's shunned. Because if someone in power were crying, we would be fucked. We're like, oh shit, we gotta rely on this guy and he's like curled up in a ball. That's the reality of depression. You gotta rely on yourself and you're curled up in a ball. Sometimes for several days, sometimes for... But if I had to choose just one composer, it would be Clara Schumann, because of this quote. She says, oh, composing gives me great pleasure. There's nothing that surpasses the joy of creation, if only because through it one wins hours of self-forgetfulness, when one lives in a world of sound. And it is so true. And I've lost many swaths of days plugged into the computer or bent over the desk with just pen and paper, seeing things, trying to remember what I've done before so I can create something new. Just keeping track, trying to learn from my mistakes. On one hand, you're standing on the shoulders of giants when you try and write new music today. Like, what are you gonna do? How many new K-pop bands can there be created? I suppose as many as you want, and that's fine. I'm a musical evangelist, and I think you should do what you need to do, what brings you joy. It's my greatest escape. It's my greatest builder of sanity. It's the center of every day of my life now. So I try and waste a little bit of time every day. I call it a waste, but it's not a waste. It's kind of a little fuzz there. Where are we at? The joy of music. Yeah, I find like a playground. If you attack music like a playground, you don't need to do much more than swing. Or if you're a bass player, maybe think of it like a merry-go-round. But once people start getting in there with their parkour and their bebop, and then their free jazz, you start upsetting some ears. They want tonality. They want organization. They want their expectations met. Expectations of the audience Attention is currency, addiction, and a weapon. Yeah, attention. We all have this attention deficit now, even especially myself. I'm greedy with my own attention. I just want to focus on music, forget everything else, fuck everything else. It's hard enough just to keep my dad fed. Which reminds me, I didn't take my meds yet today. I have a seizure condition. I'm going to take some medication. Alright. Mic check 3-4. Alright, I'm going to try and talk in a loud voice. Normally I talk in a whisper. Normally I don't talk, unlike conversations or people. I'm agoraphobic. What else should I get out of the way? Incredibly crazy. Been through a bunch of mild traumas that I over process. What else is hilarious? All the drugs I've tried. Practice that hasn't gotten me anywhere. That's not true. It's gotten me joy. And that's what we're here to talk about. Right. Alright. Normally I don't do any sort of preamble before any music. But this is my 100 subscriber milestone. I didn't expect to feel any meaning or gain any subscribers. But yeah, knowing that there's actually some real connection in the internet world still is slightly satisfying. When the internet first came about, as yes, I'm old, as you can see the gray from the 80s. Please excuse me, I was born in the 1900s. For my slowness, I'm not going to edit out any ums, uhs. So I think of what I do as, excuse me, some sort of art. It's not a product. It's something that I do, something that happens to me, something that, yeah, it's beside of any choice I might make. It's compulsion. It's an escape ritual. It's a religious ritual. My music is a religious ritual. It's, you know, except for me, I don't try and put any gods above music. that you can quote me on. I don't put any gods above music. Apollo, I only follow Apollo, the god of music. So I don't think I'll ever sell my music. I'll always tell people to just bootleg it. So a lot of what I do is intertwined with the philosophy of art, because I came from this is all a backwards story about telling you who the heartstring virtuoso is, in case you haven't mentioned that yet. It's a backwards story. We'll get to it at the end where it belongs. So, the philosophy of art is, when I was young, I was very privileged. I was going to say lucky, but I was very, very privileged. I have brilliant siblings. Dad, who taught me carpentry. I wanted to grow up to be like him and do carpentry like Jesus, play trumpet like Louis Armstrong, like Alan Vizzuti. I wanted to be a virtuoso. I wanted to play all these etudes and this impossible music. And I had a cohort of friends who were. It's really important to have a band when you're young, and not just a band, but sometimes people who play the same instrument as you, in which case there's like friendly one-upsmanship, where you're not really worried about technique, you're worried about musicality, you're worried about creating something new, like listen to this original riff, listen to what I can do with less. But this also comes to me at a time when the internet has become such a place of vitriol, where like I remember a lot of sick things going on the internet. So I graduated in 2000, so you can imagine, before that, it was like a place that you went to. It was a room in your house that you went to, and your parents couldn't be around sometimes. But I looked up all sorts of shit, and I learned a lot. I was exposed to every type of music in the world. I felt like it had all been done before I'd even got here. Like everything, we had already gotten to the moon. Like with music. Like we've already reached the pinnacle. We've got this organized sound, this avant-garde, this jazz, this world, these types of scales, these types of rhythms. And there's only so many permutations. And maybe that's true now that we're seeing so much AI music, but a lot of people claim they can tell the difference, and I would say that 100% of the time, I don't think you can, especially if you give it just like a short little quote. Is this human or is this AI? It's just, it's not going to get any worse, that's for sure. It's only going to get better. I don't know what the solution is. I don't like the way AI was scraped. But that's all I'm going to say about that, is that I don't think they're really compelling yet as a musician. I like the idea of AI STEM separation, if you know what that is. If not, look it up. So, yeah, the AI world is definitely, photographers have good reason to be upset. Their work has been stolen. Caricaturists, and anyone who does cartoons, anyone who's got any media on the internet at all, especially, visual media, it's all been basically scraped. You can assume it's been scraped, as far as I'm concerned. So our online avatars, our real selves, have been stolen from ourselves. This mask that consumes the wearer. We remember like a time when you would like choose your character in the video game, and it didn't mean that much. But like today, if you don't have the right look, the right makeup, the right thing going on, the right thumbnail, and that's just all bullshit I can't bother myself with. Like, I just can't be spared the bullshit. So even though politics and music are inseparable, you know, because music tells a story, and it tells usually the story from the perspective of the person singing, but it doesn't have to. That's really important, is it can tell the perspective of anyone. If you've ever written anything, if you've ever met anyone and learned of a different perspective, if you've ever met anyone and said, holy shit, I see the world differently after meeting someone, I hope you had that experience in your life once. Someone who changes you like that. Yeah, so people are going to tell about their political beliefs in music. And the funny thing is, music itself is a democratic process. The more people you add to your group, you either add more disorganization, or you learn to read music, and music is a fucking mess. I'm not a big fan of written music anymore. I used to be when I was young. I was obsessed with it, actually. Numerological delusions, to the point of numerological delusions. I was obsessed with fugue and counterpoint, and I was obsessed with a lot of composers. Like, some people, you say, oh, maybe they sound like this person or that person. I'm afraid of sounding like someone, so I feel like I have to absorb a little bit from everybody. And I don't know. I feel what I absorb most are the deep quotes. Like, here, let me hit pause for a second, and I'll pull up Clara Schumann. There's Flavor Aid. You can have whatever you want. So yeah, I use my dark humor as armor, camouflage. Sometimes it's a saboteur, because I don't enjoy nice things. Like, nice things, they just don't get to me. It's just like, just bounce right off. And failure. This is my favorite one. It's my only honest metric. I failed at everything I've tried so far, and I'm okay with that. I fear nothing. Failed at everything I've tried so far. But I feel authentic. Even though everything is mediated somehow, I feel I can create whatever I want to create. It doesn't matter. You can like it or not like it, watch it or not watch it. I assume the long videos will get avoided. The longer the video, the less it'll get attention. Patience is a hot commodity right now. If you're not patient, I'm surprised you're on my channel. So yeah, you're not getting a McDonald's hamburger. You're getting you're getting my noise. So you're getting my true language. The weapon of the resistance. No, I don't really have any weapon of resistance type songs. I Get Out of Bed Today and Not Another Monday type songs, and I'll leave those in the links. And then Then there's this tension between creation for myself, what I want to hear, and then creating for what other people want to hear. Because I like to do that. I like to do both. Like, I like to entertain people, I really do, but I don't like to be in front of a crowd, ironically. I don't like crowds anymore. Not fully agoraphobic, but I do hate crowds now. Hate people, hate being around people, hate traffic, hate big cities now. I really enjoy my suburban side streets, cloistered off from traffic and pedestrians. There really are no pedestrians whatsoever. So there is a little bit of tension between those two types of creation, but I find time for both. So my brain being mostly fried Swiss cheese, new things are falling in the holes, I've noticed. Some of my lost memories have come back, and a lot of my empty space, I think, is being filled with positivity, believe it or not. This digital permanence, I've created this massive network of notes and tabs and headers and searchable text of notes. Because when I first had my seizure, I had to go back and reread my own journals. I rewatched my own video blogs. So I felt this sense of contradiction where I was like, I did what? Oh my God, that's so cringy. What happened? Oh, I can't believe I did that. Oh, that's so bad. Oh, I did what? Oh no, it's getting worse. But there are so many contradictions in the world, you know. Contradictory beliefs, contradictory politics, things, antitheses of one another. But that's where art comes from. I think it's the source of turmoil, the inner conflict, impossibility of separating conditions that birth it. I think you should write and play and practice every day. Because the heartstring virtuoso is just a caricature. It's just a myth I made up, a character from the distant future who takes over my philosophy. Not that my philosophy is original or anything, just my mythos becomes important for some reason. Probably for no reason that makes any sense today. Hopefully something massively ironic and out of time with occurrences. So I sat down on the stool. It was like rocking. I was doing anything. Pick it up real quick and like, oh, maybe there's like a coin or something. I set it on. Check it. I set it back down. It rocks. Pick it up again. I don't see anything. I set it back down. Somehow there's like a stack of these tiny post-it notes with the back ripped off underneath one leg. Several years. Sometimes forever. Sometimes there's no going back. So I can understand different people's different struggles. I've read a lot of call them kindly. I've read a lot of interesting writings about people's personal experiences with mental health system, personal experiences with psychopharmacology, personal experiences with abusive family. This rant goes on and on and on. This rant just... I think we're 2/3 done. Don't worry. We're just getting to the start now. So this audience feedback loop, this is what's going to destroy you as a musician, is trying to appease someone else. This has got to be your bacon and eggs that you make for yourself in the morning. You get up in the morning, you jump out of bed, and you're like, fucking bacon and eggs? Bacon and fucking eggs? Again? Fine, that's great. I'm okay with bacon and eggs again. Or whatever you're into. Sometimes for me it's just an apple and a bike ride. It's just like, I gotta get out of here. Gotta get out of the inside of the house. That's why all my videos of cycling are what they are. They're just randomly going down side streets mostly. The southeast Michigan is like everyone's on their cell phone inside, I guess. It's 99% dead on the sidewalks. Some people say, oh, you should be in the street because it's smoother, or you should be in the street because of pedestrians. There are almost no pedestrians. If you watch the 36 videos, a lot of them are an hour long, and there are several with 0 pedestrians. So an hour long would be about 10 to 12 miles. Anyway, mental wealth. We all need it. We need to get it somewhere. We need our fix. We need our poisons. I got mine. Let me make sure this is centered. I love this mug. It's my mother's mug. And I never knew what this thing was. Just this little creature just enjoying growing to the music. And I always felt that it was a plant. So I like to play in the forest. That's where all of my ideas come from. The forest, the clouds, the sky, and the rain. And then I also steal from ancient composers, ancient dead people. I like to think people who have been dead for at least 100 years. Otherwise it's off limits. You just Mozart that shit otherwise. And what I mean by that is, if you can transcribe by ear, as far as I'm concerned, your re-performance of that is transformative, just by definition. So, the way you kill this feedback loop, besides making your own practice bacon and eggs, is you got to start really, really slow. Like, your new instrument is this big challenge. And I want to tell you about the biggest challenge in my life is, one of my traumas is I was in a car, and it barely even happened to me. It happened to my friend. I was in the passenger seat, and someone ran up, tapped a gun on the window, and luckily we were already in gear in drive, and my friend decided to gun it away rather than get out of the car and maybe get shot anyway. So a carjacker attempted carjacking. We sped away, my friend and I, and it took a while for that post-traumatic stress to catch up to me. I was like, once I realized I was like looking over my shoulder and shit at night, I decided that I was either gonna get a CPL license, get a gun, or learn to fight. And it took me 3 months of reading about CPLs to decide. Someone convinced me, a good friend of mine convinced me to learn jujitsu, and it was the most challenging thing in my entire life. And I only played for about a year. I broke a rib, I broke a toe, I got strangled probably thousands of times. Probably thousands of times, thousands. So that's just my guess in that 1 year. And I was out for a couple months in that year because of my broken toe and my broken rib. But I played 3 times a week, 90 minutes. Sometimes I would go in a fourth day for like an open mat. And that was even harder because we would do it without a gi. The gi is your kimono. So the main difference is you can grab sleeves and ankles and the belt a lot easier with the gi on if you don't know anything about jiu-jitsu. I absolutely got massacred. Like all I could do was flop around like a fish. If you're like coordinated, maybe you can dance, maybe you can move your body around in ways that you see someone else moving their body around and mimic them, you're probably going to learn jiu-jitsu faster than me. I barely scratched the surface of defending myself. But it brought me to a new level of health, a new level of endurance, and most importantly, it stoked that fear. Like, I didn't have that fear anymore that someone was gonna, I guess, jump up and strangle me from behind. Like, not that I'm ready for someone to jump up and strangle me from behind, no. It's that knowing the dangers of fighting and knowing that most people don't know how to fight makes a difference. Plus, it's such good. I think what was it, the Romans or the Greeks? They did, like communal wrestling. It was like a big part of their lives was to get their. I think men need to get some of their aggression out. You can joke about me being low testosterone. Maybe I'm just low anger. I just don't get angry. I can consolidate my angry thoughts into text on a page. So do with that what you will. I can compartmentalize it or diffract it in my mind into text or a song and not feel angry anymore. Sometimes I have to stomp around and do some push-ups or go for a bike ride, but it's as bad as it gets. The other thing is your audience might ask for they might interject their own ideas onto your music. And this is really hard because you want to satisfy people once they've had a taste. But if you want to stay to yourself, you're probably better off just staying a little bit cloistered, or just staying in that writer's room with your band, which is the most magical situation possible, is getting locked away in the writer's room with your band. And remember not to leave your drummer out, because he's the most important. Like, nothing starts without the drummer. That's all there is to it. Like what I said earlier, you get on that playground, you got to treat your instrument like a playground. Some people are treating it like parkour, doing double backflips, spinning plates, juggling, when all you got to do is swing. So your audience attention can be this currency, but it's also like this weapon that abuses you. Saw this one interesting band that was getting attention by like throwing cake into the audience. People were dressing up as bananas. I don't know. There's all sorts of tropes. I mean, I don't know. I've seen people rally up to bully someone at a high school basketball game and think that was cool on TikTok, like teenagers. Like, I'm glad they didn't have guns, I guess. So that's just like what our world is coming to is, you know, I don't want the internet to die yet. Like, it still has purpose yet to be discovered. I think my problem is I'm nostalgic for the 90s, for a time when gaming was simple, when you had to go to a place, gather your friends in your parents' basement, smoke a little weed, and play GoldenEye. And talk shit to their faces, not over a microphone. You'd have to say that shit to their face. Then in school the next day, you'd talk shit the next day too. Just you wait till this weekend, bitch. But now we have this algorithm that brings people together or tears us apart, invisibly editing our taste and discourse. I've been banned from several social media sites for creating multiple profiles and dogpiling on one asshole. Anytime someone's a terrible, terrible asshole, I feel like time to create 15 accounts, a website about his mom, you know. But don't do that. Don't waste your time. I'm too old for that shit now. When I was young, that was like, you know, I wanted to make people eat shit for their terrible thoughts. Like, I thought I could teach people something by like giving them their own medicine. But some people are unlearnable. There's no reasoning that can get through to them. There's no situation you can show them that'll like enlighten them. So we have this algorithm, and I'm not sure how it works. Every site's a little bit different, and I'm not sure they know how it works. I feel like they're slowly tweaking weights and measures here and there, but I don't think they fucking know. There's so many things going on all at once. So many interactions, so many comments. I don't know. With AI, what are we going to believe is real in the future? What are we even going to believe? Which is why I always stay... in the forest. I go to the forest. I let the forest tell me what to do. The clouds write my music. It's that simple. So I don't really care if the algorithm brings me listeners or not. I just hope that any hate it brings me is really creative. Yeah, that's right. As long as it's like creative hating on me, then it's like, I just don't want to hear the same old shit. Be like, boring. Click off. I want it to be like a comment that I want to leave there because it's funny to me. Like, because if it's good and original, then I'll laugh, even if it's a hating comment. Because I have that dark sense of humor. That's how I am. What do you call it? I just need sarcasm, gallows humor. Yeah, so I think a lot of people my age and even younger are nostalgic for an earlier time before all the internet came along, for the school shootings, for the 24-hour news cycle, before the social media breakdowns, before the streaming nightmares. Everything on streaming is a fucking nightmare. Like, there's nothing going on. I like to watch older stand-up comedy. Like, there's nothing. You're not gonna run out. Just trust me. Don't go with the feed. Just type what you want to see. Don't let yourself be fed. Type instead. Type what you want to see. Go watch Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times. So yeah, we have the great algorithm to bow to now. There's no way around it. There's no way around to not click I agree with these terms. Like, what do you want? Do you want Netflix or do you want Paramount? You don't have choices that you think you have. It's just like, it's fine. You can have Twizzlers or Red Vines. What's the problem? There's red Kool-Aid. Mic check 1, 2. How is my lighting? Now, my friend, let's tilt it back just a hair. Looks cooler. Let's actually stop